Buccaneers 30, Giants 10. Welcome to Talking Giants. My name is Justin Pennick alongside my co-host, Bobby Skinner. And we're coming to you on a Tuesday. Giants lost. I mean, basically, have a coin flip. Flip a coin. Decide which Giants loss was worse this season. Was the Rams loss worse, or is this Bucs
definitely worse?
Or is this Bucs loss worse? Monday Night Football, prime time in front of a national crowd, and Bobby Skinner was in attendance. The Giants self-evaluated over the bye week, and Blaine Gabbert played the last quarter of the fourth quarter. So, Bobby Skinner, how are you? You were at the game. Tell me where you are right now, and we'll get to it, you know?
Hopefully the internet's not too bad, but, I mean, that was just a brutal – I mean, that was like a everything sucks game, you know, and then we get the judge presser, which is maybe the most substance judge has ever given in a presser. It's like, oh my gosh, is change actually coming? You know, this is that, you know, that loss of the season where it's like, oh my God, like everything sucks. Like there's no positive takeaways from it, you know. Besides Andrew Thomas had a really cool moment, and we get the joke about Andrew Thomas having more touchdowns than Kenny Golladay and Kadarius Toney combined. And he's back, and I guess he played well, you know, and it's hard to pay attention to, you know, some of that stuff on the field when you're at the game. But yeah, it was just a brutal game. Everything was bad, you know, from top down. Daniel Jones played really bad. We'll talk about his play. Jason Garrett was really bad, yeah, it was. I say Tampa brings out the worst in people, and I actually thought I meant that more for just like people's behavior. I didn't realize that was actually just the Giants.
Well, no, you something about Monday Night Football and playing Tampa. We're cursed. We're cursed, Bob.
I kind of lost my mind after the fourth quarter. It's like, okay, like I'm not going to give a real analysis. I'm just going to screw around. And I was like, you know what? We're just cursed. And people are like, no, they're just not good. I'm like, no, actually, we're cursed. Like, how can you argue with the facts that we're cursed on Monday Night Football versus Tampa? It's like this is like those, like I'm weeding out. And I'll also will say this to the listeners, like, and this is mostly to the YouTube crowd. If you're like, hey, I'm looking for the best Giants analysis, this is usually where I come. It's probably not going to be the episode. Like, if you're not a talking Giants fan, probably not going to be the episode for you. If you're just a Giants fan, you're looking for the best Giants content, like 99 out of 100 of our shows are going to be that. This is one of, like, if you're a talking Giants fan, listen. Like, I guess we'll talk about some real Jason Garrett stuff at the top.
No, I have some things to say. I have some real things to say. Now, Bobby Skinner doesn't go to games often. And usually when he goes to games, I mean, what? You went to one in 2015 when you weren't doing anything, podcasting, anything, content like that. You went in one in 2019 where, like, Janoris Jenkins got suspended for saying a bad word. And then that was also Eli's last game. So, you know, there was nothing really to kind of talk about. So this is your third Giants game, and it was such an embarrassing loss. So you're not used to going to Giants games and then coming right home and talking, whereas I've been to, you know, probably like 100 Giants games, and all I want to do is I want to come home.
Yeah, I'm not built for it.
And all I want to do is go home and talk about it because I feel like I actually watch the game better when I go. So, but there are some, like, substantive things to talk about. So this is where I am at right now. Giants were going to lose to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Like, that's a known thing. It's a known fact. The way in which they lost is bad. Giants still have a favorable schedule. Schedule.
But do they, though? It's like the Eagles are a better team. Like, they're not going to be. Are they going to be favored in any game? Like, they don't. Like, the Dolphins will probably be at home. They'll be favored. The Eagles will be favored. Washington will be favored. Dallas will be favored. It's like, what game left on the schedule are we going to be favored in?
No, it's that, but that's not the point. The point is I'm sticking with my same talking point that the Giants have put so much into this season, and it's still not over for them. It's really not. It's really not.
Come on, dude. It's like, what do you mean over? Like what do you mean? Like, what do you mean not? Like, are you saying like they finish? Let's see. Right now they're 3-10, so you have 6. Like, when you say not finished, like they can finish 3-3 or something like that.
Well, they're not 3-10.
Or 3-7.
They're 3-6. Oh, I'm sorry. They are 3-7.
No, 3-7.
You're right. 3-7. What I mean by not over is Joe Judge is back next year, and that's kind of known. And maybe this can go into Joe Judge's post-game press conference.
Yeah, and you know, there's times where it's like, you know, there's times where I was like Shermer's back, and then it's like, well, they lost 9 in a row, and it's like, okay, he's probably not back. You know, where if Shermer didn't lose 9 in a row, and if he, you know, instead they went 3-6 or 2-7 in that, like I probably think Shermer's honestly back.
Right.
But it's the fact that like it got that ugly. So it could get that ugly for Joe Judge too.
Yes, but that's why I'm saying it's not over.
Not just for the fan base, but like the ownership.
And that's why I'm saying that it's not over. The season's not over because Joe Judge right now, I think his job is safe. And if he wins these games that they're supposed to win, even if they're not favored in Vegas's eyes, if they win those games, he's definitely going to be back. And I'm not even talking about Garrett. I'm not talking about Gettleman. Talking solely about Joe Judge, and there's still things you need to figure out about Daniel Jones. They're now more than ever, especially after this game. My biggest takeaway from this game is Daniel Jones and being frustrated with him. So let's just talk about Judge's post-game press conference. So he had the most notable 7 seconds, I think, of his entire coaching, talking in front of the media life. This is what he had to say.
All right, but as a player, there's some things I'd be frustrated too with as well.
What thing would that be?
I'm going to keep that between the team right there. But
as a player, there are some things I'd be frustrated with as well.
Listen to this. Well, here's another 7 seconds. Hold on, let me turn my volume up.
I have faith in all the people on our team, players, coach, everything. But, look, we'll assess everything as a team, make any move we need to going forward.
Is he going to be clear?
I'm not going to go into that right now.
I mean, he's denying he's not saying Jason Garrett's our offense. Like, if you asked him about 53 players, any other coach, I don't think he kind of beats around the bush on that. Like, that to me sounds like someone who wants to fire Jason Garrett.
And it just wasn't those 15 seconds. Throughout his entire presser, which I actually encourage you to check out the post-game presser, whether the Giants put it on YouTube or whatever. He harped on coaching. It's on me, it's on us, it's on the coaching to put the players in the best position. So my brain goes to two areas right now, Bobby. And I think I'm siding with the formal rather than the latter. So number one, and the formal being trying to save the locker room a little bit, trying to put onus on coaching so you can keep some players active. And it's like, hey, show up for Wednesday. Let's rock and roll on Wednesday. That's what I'm asking of you right now. And then number two is Jason Garrett, which that's what everybody in the media and all the fans, that's what we're all hoping for. But I'm thinking it's a little bit more number one, because really, why fire Jason Garrett now? Especially after Daniel Jones had like one of his worst games as a pro. Like, to me, that just doesn't make sense. My brain does not go to Jason Garrett this game. It goes to Daniel Jones. So why do it now?
To save his ass,
Maybe.
So I agree with you. Like, that very much could have been what it is. And it's like, that's Joe Judge. Like, if like him saying the quote that you brought up about, like, if I was a player, I'd be up. I see that too. It's like, I'm going to stick up for my players. I want my players like to know that I have their back. I'm not going to do that. We just got to execute better type thing after a game like this where the players played bad. Like, obviously Jason Garrett sucked in this game. Well, we can talk about some nitty gritty stuff on it, but like, the players played bad. Daniel Jones played bad. The offensive line played bad. But the not answering the questions about Jason Garrett, like, that points to, that's where I'm like, oh my gosh, he might be fired. Like, we might be doing an emergency episode tomorrow. Like, that's the closest I've believed that Jason Garrett was going to be fired, besides like 1 week before the season was over last year.
Yep.
And then with like a few days left in the season, it's like, oh no, they're going to bring him back. Like, this is like, we've been saying fire Jason Garrett for a long time. This is the first time where I'm like, it might actually happen, and it's not just blind hope by us.
Yeah, and I agree, but until they do it, I'm not putting any emotional investment into it. Where there's a lot of people that are putting emotional investment into it. And if you're listening to this at 11 a.m. tomorrow and they do it, then good. And this conversation's kind of mincemeat and it's irrelevant. But I don't think that they're going to do it. Because, again, the time to do it was in January. The time to do it was after the Falcons game, after week 3, after that horseshit performance, especially after week 1 and week 3. Time to do it was any week where the Giants offense only scored one offensive touchdown. Not necessarily after this game, where your offense coordinator got praised. The offense coordinator got praised the last 3 weeks, and then 2-1 stretch. Offense coordinator got praised for how he dealt with the lackluster offensive line. And now when Daniel Jones performs bad, you're going to fire the coordinator. It wouldn't not make sense to me. I would have rather them just do it in January.
But at the same time, it's like, even with Daniel Jones playing bad, like, they essentially put up 3 points. They had Adoree Jackson had the interception, and then you run a trick play. Like, your offense, it's like your offense running its offense basically put up 3 points. in this game, and again, it's blame on coaches and players. But like you got to view it from his point of view though with Judge, not like as a Giants fan and what we think. Like survival mode kicks in for them too, where it's like you're talking about like he's gonna be back. Like Judge may not know that, like you don't think he's thinking about his survival, like how's he gonna run it back with that same offensive coordinator? So, that could be like his survival mode. Again, this is speculative, and again, by the time you're listening to this podcast, you're probably going to know one way or the other. So I don't want to go too like deep into like is he going to be fired type thing. But I mean some of the stuff tonight, like that fourth down was one. Here, first of all, I can't stand when we are in do or die plays, which is like third down and fourth downs. And first of all, we cut the field in half.
Yeah,
but
with
not
those
even
rollouts.
cut the field in half. You do these bootlegs. They had Colin Johnson. Here's who the eligible receivers were in that play. Chris Myriak, who's like, I guarantee you like 90% of the people listening don't even know who Chris Myriak is.
I don't.
Matt Parrott, Colin Johnson, and then either Evan Ingram or Kyle Rudolph. I can't remember which one was on the field. Like those, and Saquon in the flats off of the boot. Like those were the eligible receivers on that fourth down. And then there was another one they converted, the one that was thrown to Tony, where it was like Jones is like, it was like just like someone please break open, and Tony did, and they converted, but it's like that's still a bad play call even though they converted it. And we're gonna talk about Jones with Golladay, Justin. I guess this podcast is getting more serious than I thought it was gonna be.
Yeah.
Like in that first drive you clipped it, and I was like, man, he had Golladay over the middle. And again, like we'll talk about Jones, he deserves a ton of blame. Probably like 1B with him and Garrett in this game. But it's like through this Kenny Golladay being on this team, it's very clear. It's like they just don't prioritize using him. It's like they kind of run the offense like they don't have a Kenny, like Kenny Golladay is Darius Slayton. It's like they just don't throw, like it's what they literally, besides the Washington game, they just haven't schemed up like, hey, we've got a one-on-one, let's take a shot with Kenny Golladay.
No.
They just, since the Washington game, they haven't done that, and they didn't do in the Denver game, and. And even Tony, like they don't use Tony really in the quick game. It's just, it's so broken, man. It's frustrating. And it's like, this is with a bad offensive line. Like you should be prioritizing getting those shot plays. And I will give them credit. Like they didn't try and like, oh, let's run the ball. Like they knew the Bucs are going to stop the run. They didn't try to run the ball in this game. Like probably the majority of their carries came in like the last quarter and a half when the Bucs were just playing like prevent defense. Very rare, like there's really no positive takeaways from this game, besides maybe Andrew Thomas. And I'm sure, we could watch the film and there's like, well, this, Aaron Robinson actually played pretty well. Like defensively, offensively, there's really no positive takeaways.
No, when you mentioned that fourth down, my main gripe with that fourth down is that it literally took them 27 seconds for them to get in the huddle, for them to call the play, where you saw on the broadcast, standing around, looking at the sideline, standing around, looking at the sideline. Are we going for it? Are we not going for it? What's the play call? What are we doing here? What are we doing? And then finally, it gets the camera pans over to the huddle, 13-12. They're in the huddle giving the play call, and then they're rushing to the line. So this is just an unorganized team, an unexperienced team. This is why not going for it on fourth down and being so conservative, it kills you so much, because then in the situations in which you do decide that you do want to be aggressive and you do want to go for it, you don't have the experience. So there you go. You want to talk about outside the analytics and outside of the computer bot decisions, not being aggressive on a sustainable basis hurts you, because when you try to be aggressive, it hurts you because you don't have the experience of, okay, we're going to go for it right away. That should be a decision that's made on second and third down. Like, hey, we're going to go for it on this fourth down. Not something that's kind of decided kind of like in the moment. Then they call that bad play call where they cut half the field. They rush up to the line, unorganized. They're unprepared. They're unready. And it was a good execution on Tampa Bay's part of stopping it, but also the Giants, they looked like they rushed it. So that's my thing with the fourth down. Let's talk about Jones.
Yeah, we talk about... And again, it's kind of hard from the state. You get the replays and stuff. We talk about interceptions. Like there's different types of interceptions. There's interceptions that are bad accuracy throws. There's interceptions that are bad like decisions. Like, okay, this is how they baited you into this. And there's just like what the hell was that? Yeah. And that one that was like it was basically like it was a what the hell was that interception? Because like who, we talk about the ones versus Tampa last year. That one was like who? Like I don't like. Did you think Billy Price was eligible? Like Miriak was kind of close, but it was like he clearly wasn't throwing to him. That was like that was one of those plays. Like what are you doing? It's like I'm trying to understand like what happened on that play. And it's just like there's no explanation for it. And that falls into what I think are the worst type of interceptions.
Yeah.
Where it's like the Rams game, you had 2 interceptions where they are definitely not good, but it's like you see how he got baited into it. It happens to all quarterbacks. That's the type of interceptions where it's like, those are so frustrating. And you can get away with those if you're taking chances and making big plays. If Daniel Jones had that in a 4-touchdown game, is it just as dumb? Yes, but it's like you make up for it because you're an aggressive offense. But when you do that in what's a very conservative garbage offense, well, then it just stings that much worse.
Yeah. And it was the missed opportunities along with the interceptions that really got me. You talked about that Golladay play, but that's a touchdown. I really do. That's Kenny Galladay's first touchdown. If Daniel Jones is seeing the middle of the field, then I think he even had another guy that was running behind Golladay that was running like an out route, in route, whatever you want to call it. You missed them, and you tried to force the ball to Tony there, which Tony was somewhat open too. Somebody said on Twitter that, Tony, it was actually a good read. Tony ran this wrong. I don't know. Something was missed there. You had a ball that sailed over the head of Darius Slayton on the opening drive of the third quarter as well. You said last year, Bobby, that after that Tampa game, that was the lowest that you were on Jones. And I'm flipping the script this year. This is the lowest that I'm feeling on Daniel Jones right now.
Yeah, and part of it is the timeline. Where that bad game last year with Daniel Jones was year 2. And he built on it. But like I said, we're entering towards year 3, and like we said on the evaluating Daniel Jones episode, it's like he can't be the guy until he's the guy. It's like at some point you got to win games and stuff's not built around you. Great, and he's going to be back year 4. But it hasn't been put together, and I might have hit on this before, but behind the scenes, I'm dealing with crappy La Quinta internet. So tweet at La Quinta to figure it out. But it's like we're kind of working against the clock with our young QB, and we're not those bad decisions, those dumb decisions. They're not being overcompensated for by big plays. It's just like all right, bad decisions, and also we don't move the ball at all.
Yeah, 10 points, all came in the first half, and 7
of them off of an Adoree Jackson interception down to the 5-yard line.
And they went to the touchdown went to the offensive lineman, which that was fun. It was a fun play call. First time a Giants offensive lineman scored a touchdown since.
I called that, by the way. Ask Julian, because you know how they were warming up. They had the clip of the Giants offensive lineman catching passes.
Yeah, anytime Giants offensive linemen catch passes in practice, you know that that's coming.
So that was in my head, but honestly, as a good Giants fan, I'm like, I'm not going to tweet that because you never know who's watching, And then so they report, I don't know if you can hear this on TV, they're like, number 78 is eligible when Matt Parrott came in the game.
That is one of the advantages of going 2 games, is that you get to hear who's eligible and who's not. We did not hear that on the TV.
Everyone around us, I was like, I promise you, they're going to throw the pass to Andrew Thomas. I promise you, it's going to happen. Like everyone around me, I was like, watch. Andrew Thomas is going to get a catch right now. And they freaking did it. And I felt like a freaking football guru, to be honest.
Did you freak out?
Oh, yeah. I was losing my mind. I was like, I got it. I was losing my mind in the stands. Which it was a pretty good atmosphere in Tampa. It wasn't as Giants usually the Giants will take over Tampa, combination with the Giants sucking and the Bucs being on a Super Bowl, and then you got Monday Night Football. It was actually like mostly Giants fans, or mostly Bucs fans, right, by far.
It's a good catch too. It's a hell of a catch.
Yeah, we should be putting that on a T-shirt, but it's like we can't. Should we put "Fire Jason Garrett" on a T-shirt and just say screw it? Like we're not supposed to do the fire shirts. It's our company looks down on doing that stuff, but I feel like we could just get. You know what? Actually, no. If you get the Media Some Clowns shirt.
Yeah, media some clowns. Leave it at that. Good catch, Andrew Thomas. Fun. Let's see.
Yeah, he's the only bright spot.
Yes. So we talked about Jones. I mean, what else? What else is there to say about Jones? You know, it's bad. It's bad. It's year 3.
I mean, definitely let's see. Well, it's this year. How many games has there been? 10.
10.
And then 6 after. So the last 16 games. This is like. Well, the Rams was bad, but honestly, when you look at that Rams game, and it was definitely very bad. But you look at all the surrounding factors, and I talked about before, like there's different types of interceptions. Like those are the type of interceptions. It's like okay, I kind of get it. Where these were like today was the dumb one, and then the second one was just a bad throw.
Yeah, the Rams game. The Rams scored 28 points in the second quarter. This game was 10-10. At the time, the Giants failed on the 4th down conversion, and they rushed that play, and they didn't fully execute that play. It was 10-10, and then
they were down 7 on the 4th down conversion, but it was 10-10 like for a while though.
Oh, no, I'm sorry, because it was 17-10 because that was the first drive coming out of halftime. So it was you're right, it was 17-10. And then Daniel Jones throws the interceptions, and it's still at least the first one. It's still a game where it's like the Giants are kind of in it. So that's where I think it makes it a little bit different versus the Rams game. There's no
didn't have any big plays, man.
Yeah, it was Kyle Rudolph, the 38-yarder, and the John Ross 16-yard run. I think those were the 2 most notable big explosive plays. The John Ross end around, and then which I like that little Kyle Rudolph play. He ran a route going up the sideline, and they put Elijah Penny in motion pre-snap. Maybe gave Daniel Jones a little hint as to what coverage the defense was running, and boom, Rudolph was open on that left sideline. So, no explosive. I think that was it. Those are the 2 relevant explosive plays that we had this game.
What happened on the pass interference on the Tony to Slayton play? Like, how did they pick that flag up?
The explanation that they gave on the broadcast is that the feet were entangled with each other, so that's why they picked it up.
That was brutal. I mean, he tackled him.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not the difference in the game. I was just frustrated.
I've chosen in my fandom, unless it's something really, really egregious with the refs, I've chosen in my fandom, especially since the Giants have been such a bad team, that I'm not going to get really that emotionally invested in referees blowing a call.
Fair. I said I was going to kill him, but I'll also not get emotionally invested.
Well, no, when you're at the game, it's a different story. When you're at the game in the moment, it's like, shit, it's so infuriating.
I start understanding my mentions on game day. Just like, you know what? People are at the game. They're having a few beers. They're not analyzing it like you are. It's like, okay, I get it. Like, I'm just pissed. Like, I don't have my halftime thoughts are that I'm pissed.
All right, so we're done with Jones. I think this is Jones's worst game.
Saquon's an afterthought at this point.
Hold on. I'm gonna get to him. Jones's worst game since Tampa Bay last year, and Tampa Bay last year was Jones's worst game of 2020. Fair?
So would you say this is his? I hate doing this on Monday night or the night to just look at a big picture. Where do you rank this in bad Jones games?
In his career, we're talking about. I don't really fully know. I think this is the worst of his year, of his season.
Oh yeah, no doubt. The Rams game obviously bad, but it's you look at the context, that one is not as bad. This is just and they had a weak secondary. I hope we got the portion where I'm they just don't prioritize Kenny Golladay, which doesn't make it's why did you guys sign this with this idea of using him this way?
And before we talk about that and some other players on the offense side of the ball, I want to talk about Manscaped. So, gentlemen and ladies, the holidays, they came early because Manscaped, the leading men's hygiene brand, has launched new products, including the all-new Ultra Premium Body Wash and a 2-in-1 shampoo and conditioner. It's time to get yourself the beautiful gift of skin, hair, and balls this holiday season. I guarantee your hygiene routine will never be the same. Go to manscaped.com/Giants for 20% off plus free shipping. Plus, make sure you're feeling and smelling prepared for a little action under the mistletoe. So actually, I recently just gave the 2-in-1 shampoo and conditioner as a gift to a friend. I have some myself, but then I went to Manscaped, used promo code Giants, got some 2-in-1 shampoo and conditioner for a friend. And actually, what I've been doing just as a gift, so I haven't been going to Manscaped all the time to purchase all these products, but I've been telling friends, I said, hey, you need stuff. go to manscaped.com, use promo code Giants, which I feel like that's just as good as getting somebody a gift, kinda, if you get them 20% off and free shipping. So what this 2-in-1 shampoo has, they have key ingredients with benefits that include sea kelp extract, helps remove toxins while hydrating hair and scalp, doesn't dry up your hair and scalp. Coconut water, saw palmetto, helps promote hair strengthening and regenerating, which, if I have trouble pronouncing things sometimes, but they still somewhat sound like natural products, that's how you know it's good. Take care of your hair, fellas. So what I want you to do is get 20% off and free shipping by going to manscaped.com/Giants. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com/Giants. Keep your candy cane fresh this year with Manscaped. Didn't even mention Lawnmower 4.0. They have so many other stuff. So much other stuff. So clean up your body, clean up your balls. Manscaped. Thank you to Manscaped. Yeah, so Saquon Barkley, Kenny Golladay. Those are the two players that I mainly want to talk about before we move on to anything else. Thoughts?
We'll talk about it. Saquon's like an afterthought.
Yeah.
Which we went into this game saying, like, hey, don't try and force the run. But it's just frustrating. Like, we draft him second overall and he's an afterthought.
Yeah, they talked us into that this dude, even without an offensive line, Dave Gettleman with the whole line in 2018, he makes your offensive line better. He makes your quarterback better. This organization talked us into is that this player would make everybody else around him better. And that is such an unfortunate expectation that a running back should have to be put under. But that is the case with this franchise, and it is the case with Saquon Barkley. But even outside of that...
But it wasn't even the draft spot. He was amazing his rookie season, and it's just like, he's gone.
Even outside of all that with what Dave Gettleman says, Saquon Barkley is just not the same football player, and right now I don't think he's a good football player right now. I think he's a decent football player. Don't think he's a good football player right now.
After his rookie season, people were talking about he might be the best running back ever. Like, behind that horrible offensive line, he put up 1,300 rushing yards, another 700 receiving. Like, that year was amazing. And I know the Giants suck, and you talk about it, but it's like, you know what? Even if they drafted Quentin Nelson, like, I think we leave that season as being like, Quentin Nelson's amazing, and, but he didn't. But it's like, and it's just, he's just not that player, and it's. I don't know what to do. Like, there's no way. Like, and we're talking big picture here. It's like, what happens? Like. Before I kind of just was like, they're gonna extend Saquon. It's what they're gonna do. But it's like, do they now?
They can't.
I'm like dumbfounded on like what happens with Saquon Barkley, who at one time looked like he could end up being the best running back, a top 5 running back of all time. Like, after his rookie season, if you said like Saquon's gonna be a top 5 running back of all time on any show, no one would have said that's an overreaction. No one would have. And right now, it's just like, it's. I mean, they didn't give him a lot of carries today, so maybe we shouldn't overreact to this one game. But it's just like he's just an afterthought at this point. And he's injuries. It's, I don't know, dude.
No, but even when he does touch the ball, Bobby, there are some situations where I'm looking at it saying, even though Saquon Barkley, I'm not expecting you to take a ball to the house here, but when you're one-on-one with the safety and you can't break a tackle to even just extend a play and get an additional yard or two, because gang tackles is a thing in the NFL. So even if you catch a ball in the flat and you can't even break one tackle, and then when you do break a tackle, you trip and you fall, which I know everybody was flipping and slipping on that Tampa turf, but I'm sorry, Saquon Barkley, whenever he breaks a tackle, he's constantly slipping and falling even on that MetLife turf too. Doesn't matter where he is. Really doesn't matter. So I had the comparison on Twitter. This was mainly a joke, but I'm also kind of serious. I feel like Saquon Barkley has the legs of a human horse.
You sounded like you were on drugs with that tweet.
He has the legs of a human horse, but he has the body of like a newborn deer. Because there's just things that are moving so much faster than other aspects. Like he's a non-factor. He's a non-factor. And this is what I also wonder. When are we going to turn on to a Giants game? Like whether it's a Fox broadcast, an ESPN broadcast, NBC, if we ever get a Sunday Night Football game ever again. When are we ever going to turn on a broadcast and hear, hey, Saquon Barkley's just a non-factor for the Giants? Because every single weekend it's, when do the Giants get Saquon Barkley back with all the analysts, right? And then when he's back like tonight, they're talking about him like he is this X factor. Like, he is this X factor that actually does provide a difference when right now that's just not the case. So when does that actually start to become a narrative? That's my question.
But it's like, we talk about like 2018 was an amazing season for him. Like even 2019 battling with injuries, you could put a highlight clip together for Saquon Barkley that's better than every running back in the league. And that was with missing a couple games and dealing with the sprint. And then since the ACL, it's just like it's nothing. There was one 40-yard run versus Washington that honestly, that's probably like a 20, 30-yard gain with every other running back too, because it was blocked really well. It wasn't like Saquon had to do much on that play. It was a very well blocked play. And it's been nothing since that. Not taking a screen play like he did versus Pittsburgh, and turning a third down into like making like the plays that Tony would make now. And it's just, I don't know. So we kind of already. What do you have to say on Golladay? Because I feel like we kind of talked about him already. 2
targets. Now, something that you did not see on your end while you're at the game. Louis Riddick was really going in on Golladay, saying this dude has to be better. This dude has to be better. And he did point out a play where Kadarius Toney catches a little bubble screen, and Kenny Golladay just whiffs on a block, which, you know what? If you're trying your best and trying to make an open field block as a wide receiver, that's not something you're asked to do constantly all the time. But Kenny Golladay, on that specific play, now I'm really pinpointing one play here, and I may be broadening out to a bigger point, but looked lazy. Where Tony, if he makes that block, or at least if he makes a better attempt to get in front of him, Tony can maybe spring that for a 10, 15-yard gain. Versus it's a 5-yard gain because Golladay doesn't make his block, and I think he's forced out of bounds. So there are just some plays where even Kenny Golladay dropped a pass. I think they called pass interference, but dropped the pass, gets up, doesn't have any kind of reaction, just runs back to the huddle. I am hoping, and maybe you could look at this on the film review. I am hoping that Kenny Golladay is not a player that is lackadaisical right now because things are not going the way that he thought. I'm hoping. I am hoping that's not the case. But that screenplay where he really gave a piss-poor half-ass effort at blocking his guy, and it could have been a huge Kadarius Toney game, I'm hoping that is not the case.
Okay, I didn't see any of that, so I'm not going to comment on it.
Right.
I still think if we have a better offensive coordinator, Golladay, we'd like him a lot more.
Yeah,
and he was
Jones needed to hit him. Jones needed to hit him when he was open earlier in the game too.
I mean, Kenny Golladay, if there's one player who probably hates Jason Garrett more than anyone, it's probably Golladay. I mean, literally week 2, he was yelling at Jason Garrett on the sideline. Like, 4 days into the season, he was yelling at Jason Garrett on the sideline. And it's just total, like, if there's one player who probably deserves to hate Garrett, now I'm not saying he needs to go on ESPN and do an interview, but if there's one player who deserves to hate Garrett, it's probably Golladay more than any of them.
Yeah.
Can we talk about the O-line? I gave Matt Parrott a salute today when I went down at the end, and when Ben Wilkerson was ripping into the offensive line after taking up 2 back-to-back sacks. Parrott looked in the stands, and I was next to LPG, and I just gave him and he kind of gave a head nod. So I wanted to just be like, hey, dude, I wanted to scream and be like, why are they not playing you? What has to happen? And I'm sorry, neighbors in the next room. What does Nate Solder have to do? Or Matt Parrott have to do? Like, is Matt Parrott like an asshole? Like, does he walk into every meeting and just whip out his big old wiener and suck this Rob Sale? Like, what? Wow. It makes no sense. Honestly, the offensive system there's nothing on this team with this coaching staff that makes less sense than the fact that Nate Solder continues to start. It makes no sense, Justin. They were forced into playing Matt, and again, this doesn't make a difference in the game anyways. But it's just like I don't understand it. What has to happen? What? Like, why did if you don't think Matt Parrott's good, probably won't be good. Why did you go into this year with this as the plan? Like, are you this is where we try to be level-headed. We try to be like, all right, even if we disagree with things, what's their point of view? Why are they doing it? This is the one thing where it's just like, are you guys stupid? Is it because of the contract? Like, why? Like, you can't. There's no good reason. Like, you can find. Even when you can't stand Jason Garrett, you could be like, well, the offensive line. There's no good reason right now for Matt Parrott restarting. Not a single one. We watched him play the last month, and it's better than what Solder was, and it was at a more critical position of left tackle. What has to happen? Like, why did you draft this guy? Like, I'm blown away the fact that he doesn't play. And we don't even need to talk about it further. It's just, it blows my mind that he's not playing.
Yeah.
So
Status
salute
quo.
to you, Matt Parrott. If you watch this, you have family members that watch this, I'm sure you're thinking it's unreal. And the offensive line sucks. How bad did the offensive look like on the broadcast?
Well, I will say,
I saw Thomas gave up maybe a sack at the end, but
yes.
I was kind of checked out. But did he look good overall?
Yeah. Besides the garbage time sack, which somebody in the Patreon chat pointed out, besides that, you're not calling his name much. In all honesty, there was one play where I thought Solder was bad, but at least on the top of my head, there wasn't a play where Solder blew up. The running game's a different story. But the play that stands out to me the most, and I clipped this from the Talking Giants account. Well, not Ndamukong Suh. They rushed 3 on like a third down.
I know exactly which one it was. Will Hernandez gets beat for the sack, and Billy Price is like, just get depth, dude.
I put it on Billy Price. I put it on Billy Price because they're rushing 3, and whoever's rushing on the left side of the offensive line, like Billy Price is staring that dude down, but he's by the tackle, and then Billy Price like looks over to Ndamukong Suh with Will Hernandez. He doesn't react right away, and then by the time he reacts to give help to Will Hernandez, who's getting his ass kicked, there's nothing that Billy Price can do because Ndamukong Suh's already by him.
Only one sack allowed, though.
Yeah, and so I found that to be very, very funny. That the Giants account tweeted out that PFF Billy Price only has allowed 1 sack this year, and then he has that abysmal play. And I understand Hernandez gets blown up, but dude, I mean, it just the lack of awareness, the lack of just spatial awareness in a pass set where they're only rushing 3. It's not even like a guy's stunting. It's not even like you have to worry about a linebacker that drop back in the coverage. No, they rush 3. And you're just looking at a dude that's covered by the left tackle. So that was bad. Billy Price, that was bad.
What do we do talk about the defense? I kind of want to just move on and end the show and have some fun. I saw Bradbury gave some catches. Tom Brady, I mean, if we talked about going into this game, like the defense has been good, but it's like, part of that has been the QB matchups, not bad QBs, but more aggressive QBs where Brady's going to take what they give you. Like they didn't beat him with big plays down the field, and Brady was surgical in this game. And that mix with the bad pass rush is like, it's like it's the worst. It's your worst nightmare. Yeah,
with the defense, 29 pass attempts for Brady in the first half. You saw the difference between, like you said, Tom Brady and a guy like Pat Mahomes, right? Where Tom Brady is going to take those checkdowns immediately and right away.
How many catches did Fournette have?
Versus Pat Mahomes, he's going to take a while to work back down to those checkdowns. I believe he had
fantasy.
He had 6 receptions, 39 yards.
Yeah.
On 6 targets.
So we'll do if we're not doing an emergency fire Jason Garrett, so we'll talk more about the defense on that.
Yeah. Brady's MVP for a reason, and that's
he should win MVP this year, by the way, too. I know the 2 games before this weren't great, but he look around the league, Tom Brady. Unless you want to give it to like Jonathan Taylor or somebody, if it's a QB award, like Tom Brady, I think should be the league MVP this year.
I absolutely agree. Brady could have a bad game here and there, but he's gonna have a bad game because Tom Brady is gonna have just genuinely like a bad game. He's not gonna have a bad game because like Mahomes is going to have a bad game because he doesn't work down to the check down quick enough. Stafford is going to make some bonehead decisions with the ball. Brady is going to be surgical, and when he has a bad game, it's just sometimes genuinely, sometimes you just beat him. But you're not going to – there's certain ways to beat other teams versus the Bucs. You're going to have to really come up with some sort of triumphant effort, and he showed it there. So, yeah.
If Logan Ryan plays, we win the game.
Yeah? That's the take?
Did he tweet? So I felt bad because he tweeted out like, "I'm going to be tweeting during this game. I can't." And I quote tweeted, and I was like, "Ooh, wow, I'm so happy." And then I deleted it like 2 seconds later. I was like, "You know what? Let me not be a dick because I don't like the corniness of." Did he? I guess we should look right now.
I don't know. I don't know if he tweeted. All edge rushers had a bad game.
Every time Nick Gates tweets though during a game, I get hyped. So maybe I'm being a hypocrite.
Leonard Williams had a really bad game, at least in my opinion.
I saw he missed the tackle in the reverse, but it's hard to like. It was so usually I'm watching the broadcast and you're watching it up front. So since I was at the game And up high, I was like, I'm watching the secondary. It's like I never get to watch the secondary and the routes develop. So I was like, that's what I'm watching all game.
Thought Adoree had a good game, and that's maybe it. Maybe Aaron Robinson had a good game. I don't know. But happy that Adoree finally got his first interception. I don't care if it's bogus off a tip. Didn't see him get targeted really at all. And
Hashtag locked in with load.
There you go. All right.
I kind of hate his tweets. Anyways, you're going to have a great career in media, Logan Ryan. Maybe you'll join John Boy Media.
I don't think he would like that.
We'll have him on. Like, all right,
I would like it.
Read the last ad.
Sure.
And then we'll talk about Tampa and just the city of Tampa.
We'll talk about Bobby's life. So this Thanksgiving, be thankful for family, food, and free bets. Ooh, that's right. DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL, has a Turkey Day no-brainer you can't miss. New customers can just bet $1 on any Thanksgiving NFL game and win $100 in free bets if either team scores. If Sportsbook isn't available in your state yet, you could still get in on all the Thanksgiving NFL action. Make your first deposit and you can play for millions with DraftKings Daily Fantasy Football Contests. DraftKings is safe, secure, and reliable, and best of all, you can deposit and withdraw your cash whenever you want. So what I want you to do is download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use promo code JOHNBOY, bet $1 on any Thanksgiving NFL game and win $100 in free bets if either team scores a point. That's promo code JOHNBOY this Thanksgiving at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Must be 21 years or older. New Jersey, Indiana, or Pennsylvania only. New customers only. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Tell me about Tampa.
All right, yeah. So if you only care about the Giants stuff, piss off. I don't know. Gary Myers' tweet, which I guess maybe going on about this tweet after such a low moment for the Giants is probably not the time to be like. But his Gary Myers' tweet about like, why did they pass on Micah Parsons? I don't want to hear about the Bear. That rocked my morning. It's like, anyways, I guess we won't harp on that one. But I thought that was the funniest thing in the world. I'm gonna remember that tweet for the rest of my life.
I don't want to hear about a key piece of context as to why the Giants didn't take Micah Parsons.
I don't want to hear about the exact reason why they didn't. Someone replied to my tweet and it's like, why is your grandfather a hero? I don't want to hear anything about storming Normandy Beach or whatever. So stupid.
Oh, God. All right.
And then
so that's one story.
Speaking of Hitler, somebody...
Excuse me?
I said, speaking of Hitler...
Oh.
Someone did a side-by-side picture of Judge and Hitler next to, like, of their face, like, in one.
Sure should be talking about that?
Well... Yeah, because I didn't do it, and someone replied to it to Zach Rosenblatt, and then Zach like texted it to me immediately, and then like as I clicked on it, he's like it was deleted, and then Zach sent me the screenshot of it, which I was just like, oh my god! Like,
this isn't your time in Tampa. This is just your time in Tampa reading tweets.
So what do you want to hear? I mean, the pop tire is boring. I popped a tire. Ooh.
I want to hear the porta potty story.
Okay, so wake up at like 6 in the morning, and I was like, I want to go down to the river. I want to go get my coffee in the morning and go down to the river. And I was like, all right, where's the nearest Dunkin' Donuts to the river? And then I go to it, but there's like you kind of have to walk to it, and then I had to really go to the bathroom. Like, did a little drinking. Maybe I had some, liquor poos. Someone bought us tequila shots, huh?
Had a few brewskis.
Yeah, and I'm like, okay, when I'll go to the Dunkin' Donuts, go to the bathroom, and get my coffee, then go down to the river. And so I get parked to where it's like a 0.2 mile walk, and it wasn't there. Like it just that Dunkin' Donuts wasn't a thing. But I'm in the middle of this construction zone, and I'm like, oh my god! I was like, oh okay, I'm gonna have to poop outside. Like it's, I'm gonna use my boxers to wipe and go back to the hotel, shower, and go about my day. And then I see a porta potty, and I was like, yeah. So, porta potty is the most disgusting things in the world. And so it's like, why, Bobby, did you have to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning and leave the hotel? Why couldn't you just hang out at the hotel, go to the Dunkin' Donuts that's near the hotel? And I'm just like, I can't believe I'm sitting in here on a porta potty at 7 o'clock in the morning on this random construction zone, like people working around me, and I'm just in there. and my flip flops at a construction.
Oh no, flip flops. No.
I hate talking about this stuff on the show because it grosses me out when other people talk about it, but it was just like, this is unreal. Like, this only happens
love
to
this.
me.
I love this stuff. But it's the flip flops that threw me out, that threw me off.
It's just disgusting.
I love a good emergency bathroom story, but now you're talking about being almost barefoot, having feet and toes exposed.
I literally drove back home or to the hotel and like showered immediately.
Wow.
I mean, it was just disgusting.
You were next to Joe Ruback, license plate guy, for his viral reaction moment. So what was that like?
That is going to be his most viral moment. That's more than like the Super Bowl ones. Like that was what happened is there was this dude behind us who was the most, and I wasn't next to LPG the whole game. I came down for like the last 10 minutes because he's like, I'll try and find seats for you down here. And then so like with 10 minutes left, he's like, there's seats, you know. And I was like, all right. I was like, screw it, we'll come down. And there's this guy being like, put Glennon in. This guy stinks about it. Just kept on going to Joe, like, this guy stinks, Joe. And so, and you know, Joe's a nice guy. And I saw, and this is why I couldn't stay down there. Because I would end up like telling that dude, like, can you please shut up? Like, just shut up. And I was telling him, and I was like, I turned around, I was like, and Mike Glennon is like amazing. Why don't we play Mike Glennon? You know, was being sarcastic with him. And then he keeps on going to Joe. He's like, this guy stinks. And then I was like, yeah, why doesn't license plate guy bench him? Like, what the hell's wrong with? Like, I'm starting to get annoyed at the guy. But LPG's he's a lot nicer than I am, and so that's when he does the like, like he's just trying to like, please leave me alone type thing. And they caught that, and you could see in the corner of the screen, you could see my like, my little like,
oh wow,
my hair popping out. Like,
you want to know what would have stood out more is if you didn't cut your hair.
I know they would have put us on. It's like, look at these two blondes.
You would have been like, look at these brothers.
Yeah, or like father and son, but it's like this son is a lot taller than him.
I wouldn't give yourself that compliment thinking you're that much younger than Joe.
I mean, he's probably in his 40s. I'm 20. I guess.
Yeah.
Damn, I'm getting old, dude.
Yeah,
I hate
old.
this.
You're old, man.
I'm gonna turn 30 next year. This sucks.
He's more likely to be my father than your father.
Me and him went to the Lightning game, and we bought standing room only tickets. He's like you know how like when we did our fan fest thing, it's like, man, this is pretty cool. It's like we got people who are fans of us and they're coming up and taking pictures. Like, it was pretty cool. With LPG, it's like on just another level. We literally ran into some people and they're like, where's your seats? And we're like, we don't have any. And they're like, oh, well, like, let us take your number and we'll get you tickets to the game tomorrow. And they're like, no, we don't have seats to this game that we're in the stadium for the hockey game for. And so they brought us down. And like, they were really cool people. I would love to connect with them, but I don't think they're on like Twitter or anything. But like some older, like, they're really cool. And we had great seats at the hockey game. And it was a great hockey game too, by the way. Wild were down by 2 with 5 minutes left and ended up tying it and going to overtime. Like, it was an intense hockey game.
A little bit better than the Giant game?
Oh, yeah. That was way more fun. Can I tell you, I thought about sharing this story, but I'm going to do it because that's just what I do every time I say I'm not going to share something. I was in the same location as Pat Leonard on Sunday night.
Yeah.
And I felt bad because I felt like my presence kind of forced him away. Because I clearly don't like him, and I would assume he clearly doesn't like me. And so when I showed up, he just kind of like went away. Like, he was, still in the same, like location, but it was like he wasn't hanging out where I was hanging out. But it's like, I'm not going to like go to him like, I think you suck. It's like, I'm, for as uncivilized as I am. Oh, and by the way, shout out Mr. Fomer Simpson, uncivilized nation. But it's like, I'm still a civilized human being. I'm not going to do that. If he would have said something to me, I would have said something back. But it's like, all right, let's just be adults.
You guys are going to hug it out one day. I believe it.
No. You know me. I'm too, like, strong-willed and stubborn that it's like, I'm not going to play now. I can't do it. I just can't. Like, I just can't do it.
There wasn't a part of you where if he came up and he, like, joked around with you and it would be like a let bygones be bygones conversation, but without saying let bygones be bygones.
Maybe, but I'd also like I wouldn't be like, all right, I would be like, I was like, I know what you do. Like you will do whatever you can to get as many clicks as possible. You don't believe in it. Most of the stuff you say, you're literally just going for the maximum clicks at all times.
Yeah, it wouldn't end in okay. Pat Leonard joins the rotation of beat reporters that are
he'll
interviewed
never
on
come
show.
on the show. Yeah.
Yeah. That's always that's like high school cliquish. Like
I know, and honestly, I hate that. Like I do. Like I hate that. And it's like even like when we just I felt bad. So how about that? Look at me. And so he has all the right in the world right now to like tweet at me and be like, this pussy didn't say nothing to me.
Media some clowns. You're part of that.
No, I'm not part of that. But like he has, if he wants to tweet and call me a pussy, he has every right. He has every right, honestly. And we need to host the Brandon Jacobs versus Mark Colombo pay-per-view. He replied to my tweet saying he's willing to do that. We need to host that, and I will be the biggest hype man in the entire world for.
Did you
Brandon
at him
Jacobs.
Or did he find it?
I quote tweeted him. He just was like, he wanted to go to the Frank Gore fight, but he's like, I'm not paying those type of money for those tickets. And I was like, we need a Mark Colombo versus Brandon Jacobs pay-per-view, and he said he's about it. So we need to make that happen. Like that has Mark Colombo. You don't have a job. You're a loser. You're a scumbag. Actually, homeless people. I like them. But like you are like you're just a loser. And I will whip your ass, and Brandon Jacobs will whip your ass. So let's get it on.
So John Moy Media can like sponsor this, and they can organize it and. We have an events person.
We could do it like Kimbo Slice old school like backyard brawls. Like I mean we did that in high, like we literally would have like backyard like boxing matches.
Let's do that.
We'll stream it. It'll go. We'll make sure you get paid, Brandon Jacobs. Mark Colombo will pay you in like Coke or something because you're a cokehead. Throwing out a lot of allegations right now. I'm feeling a little frisky because it's primetime game, but whatever.
Yeah. All right. So that's your time in Tampa. I mean, you also cut a tire, but I mean, the sun also came up this morning too.
Yeah, that's old news. It's like how many times are we gonna do that segment? So all right, anything else? I mean, we'll be back either on we'll either have an episode out Thanksgiving doing a mailbag podcast.
Thursday and Friday we'll be back this week.
Friday we preview. I'm coming to Jersey on Friday too, but we'll talk more about that on those days.
Yeah, Thursday, Friday show we'll have more of an announcement of we are going to have an event for the Eagle game.
We're going to be catering it, right? Like we could just say that.
We're going to be catering it. We're going to be catering the Eagle game, but we're going to pin down the exact details of
parking lot L, there'll be food. Bring your own drinks.
Yes, let's hold off on the exact location for now. It'll be a good time. So come out to that Eagle game. If you're get tickets to the Eagle game right now. Get tickets. Bobby and I will be there. We're going to have a good time. Even if you don't want to get tickets.
A lot of listeners traveling in. Mr. Brownstone is going to be there. I'm excited to meet him. There's going to be people there.
Come hang out in the parking lot. At least, get a parking pass and come hang out in the parking lot for a bit. And then when we all go into the game, I'm sure there's going to be other people that are hanging out watching the game from the parking lot so you can hang out with them. So, all right, that's the show, Bobby. Do you want me to take us out of here? No, you take us out of here. I don't know what to do.
I got to take us out. We appreciate you guys. Monday night games usually bring out the worst of these podcasts. Like every year, it's like, which is our worst podcast? After the Eagles game, 2019, after the Bucs game last year, and this will probably like our least analytic. Actually, you know what? It's still better than what everyone else is doing. So actually, you know what? Screw that. Let me stop being like that. This is better than what everyone else is doing. Pat on the back for me. How about that? We appreciate you guys. We'll see you when we see you. Hopefully, we have an emergency episode. If not, we'll be back on Thanksgiving. So you have a podcast on Thanksgiving. Ain't anyone else putting out that for you. We appreciate you guys. See you then. Until then, let's go Big Blue.